Welcome to the Coffee and Curveballs. I'm Tommy. He is Shooter, and we've got a little showdown for you. There was the Florida preseason classic and the California kickoff tourney happening last week. So we got to just throw the question out. Who has the better prospects, Florida versus California? Shooter, first, how were these events?
Stellar. I mean, Doug's done a great job in Florida building that thing into the marquee event to kick off the spring. Close to 100 MLB scouts, decision makers, cross checkers, scouting directors, special assistants, all over the place. And then I headed out to California. Les did the same thing with his kickoff deal, which was awesome. Close to 100 scouts at that thing too. Who's better? I'm not going to pick sides. They're both really good.
We'll let the internet decide, but we will start in Florida with a southpaw from the southeast. It's Cameron Johnson.
Yeah, and when I went down, a lot of the big part of this trip, and you find the most prospects are from these two states. You look at MLB rosters. This is where the guys are from. Cameron Johnson, Maryland kid who's down at IMG now. Big left-hander. He's the top left-hander in the class now, up to 97. It's an easy 97. He's all 6'5", 240. It's a physical presence, but the fastball, the metrics, the characteristics of it, unbelievable. I was blown away by the outing. Just his mound presence, ability to pump the zone with that fastball, 2,600 RPM. It was heavy. There was late life. It was a swing and miss whiff pitch the entire night. I almost ran out of ink trying to keep track of just how many he had. The usual slider that he's shown in the past has a chance to be a wipeout pitch. Didn't need it much. Flashed it, I think, 5 or so times. But the fastball was the story. 4 innings, 8 strikeouts, only 4 balls put in play, 1 hard hit. But the other 3 would have exploded wooden bats. I wrote in the article a very Sabathian-esque feel. Just to the way he looks on the mound, physical frame, the ease of the fastball, especially CC's early work with that fastball slider combo. Don't like to throw out comps like that, but it was startling just how much it looked like that low slot, his ability to attack the zone. Love everything about Cam Johnson. I think he really put himself in that top 15 pick type conversation for the rest of the spring.
Also, shout out to you for using ink on the scorecard, not using an app. The old school. Still got to use the ballpoint.
To be fair, it was an eye pencil.
Oh no, you ruined it. We will move on to a smooth shortstop, Adrian Santana.
And we're going to talk about some SoCal shortstops in a second, but Adrian Santana, Miami kid at Doral Academy, loved everything about their team. But this kid, from the first second that he stepped into the box in batting practice, was uber impressive. Just the low pulse, ability to slow things down. He's a switch hitter, about 6'1", 160, wiry frame, still filling out there. But the ease of action on both sides of the ball and his high baseball IQ just stood out. The coaches had nothing but great things to say about him as a prospect. But the confidence, and it's not a cockiness, it's just a strong, firm belief in himself, and really tracked well at the plate. But in the field, oh my gosh, he was a magician with the glove, working to both sides. His left-handed pitcher, Frank Menendez, another draft prospect, was just feeding sinkers to the bottom of the zone. And all Santana did was gobble up ground balls all day for Doral, which was huge for them. Love everything about him. He's a big riser right now in our 23 updated rankings and draft board. Looking forward to seeing what he has the rest of the spring.
Another infielder is Aiden Miller.
Yeah, Aiden Miller, and he's the premier right-handed bat in the class, and very well known. Since the first day he stepped into the high school hallways, everybody's known about Aiden Miller. He's a two-way talent now, just playing the infield. Love the way he swings it. The physicality's there. What I saw with the frame is it's almost leaned up even more. It looked outstanding. It's a pristine, pro-ready body. Showed off some big power with some majestic shots in batting practice. Gets crazy use of the hips with torque at the plate. But the power's obviously there. Now, he went up in his first at-bats of the year against some really tough arms. There were sinker ballers at 90, under the lights. So he's fighting a little bit. The head was drifting in game, trying to speed up a little bit. But he's going to hit. Figured it out a little bit in game 2. Got to knock up the middle. But what stood out to me was just his makeup. He walks around the field. There's, again, the quiet confidence of him. But he's there's magnetism to him. And he stands on the field. He's easy to find out. Played shortstop in this look. The hands really work. He's going to be a premier premium defender at third base when it comes down to it. But in this look, I thought, hey, you could probably send him away and let him play short early on at a pro look. But he's going to hit for power. He's always shown that hit tool in the past. And I love the defensive work. He just has innate confidence in his hands and just looks the part out there.
We have a trio of righties on the mound that are going to make this list as well, starting with Brandon Oliveira.
Yeah, I'm going to just rip off these three guys because I was blown away. And they're guys that we've known about in the past. Oliveira was outstanding. He went up against an IMG lineup, which is probably top 3, if not the best lineup in the country that I've seen of a high school team. And he was not afraid. Low 90s, the ball was exploding out of the hand, but his feel for 4 pitches, more of a close to 12-6 breaking ball with some depth, a sharper, firmer slider, and then, he was killing spin on an angry changeup. About 6'6'1", but he's dynamic down the mound, was fearless in the zone, attacked hitters from the get-go, was able to throw any pitch in any count. I think he had 7 strikeouts in 3+ innings, and this is one of their first games. So there was definitely some energy and electricity in the ballpark, and he did not disappoint going up against Cam Johnson. Loved everything about him.
Moving on to Trevor Harrison.
Yeah, Trevor Harrison, he's on that same Mitchell team as Aiden Miller. He's a guy that we've loved in the past. He was uncommitted last summer when I saw him, saying, hey, this guy's really good. Now committed to Florida State. He was up 93, 94. I've heard in recent outings since then up to 95. It's a real changeup. The breaking ball he's able to land for strikes. It's going to continue to get better. I think a firmer slider is in the mix for him. But it's a starter profile, square-shouldered, 6'4", 225. It's just easy to dream on, just the way he works the fastball in and out. I think the velocity, he'll probably be up into the upper 90s as it warms up this spring. It was a little chilly there in Fort Pierce. But I just, the low pulse that he holds on the mound, the warm-up, everything about that's going to help him throughout his collegiate days at FSU, or he'll get plenty of looks this spring. It could be a professional mix where he's just going to get better over time. I think scouts are going to really adore his work.
Final guy, leave it to Logan Beavis.
Logan Beavis, about 6'7". It was whippy. There's looseness to it. The fastball really played with whiffs. He's getting in-zone misses on that pitch up to 93. I think there's more in the tank, which is astounding because it's really jumping out of the hand. The secondary is more average right now. I think that will continue to come. But that fastball, his ability to move it around the zone, is going to only allow him to play up. He's a South Florida recruit, but I think he definitely emerged on a lot of lists, especially with 80+ scouts there in attendance.
Going across to the other coast, to the Golden State, starting with the catcher, Ralphie Velasquez.
Yeah, I called it the Disney to Disney challenge. I flew out of Orlando into Orange County, but it was great to see Les and Joey. They put on a great event, 16 teams. I want to say there's probably 20+ day one draft picks when it comes down to it with the 4 classes that were in attendance. But Ralph Velasquez, catcher, Huntington Beach, go in there. He was definitely a marquee name that I circled, and I left saying Ralph Velasquez is the best hitter on the West Coast. That's the way it left, and it's something that over time this Florida 23 class has been who's going to separate themselves. They're all really good, but it's kind of been which of those guys separates themselves beyond. I think Ralph has had such a big start to the early spring, and it's something we've known since he was a freshman. Dude can hit, but that power is obviously there. It's some of the elite raw power in the class. He stays compact to the frame. It's almost like his arms are a little bit shorter, which allows him to stay compact but still have that strength through the zone. Can hit it to all fields. He's able to manipulate the barrel, but it's a physical presence. I think he has really jumped up some boards if he wasn't already up there. Huge fan. He is the #1 guy in California.
The only infielder we have from California on this list is Eric Betanti.
So Betanti's a birthday baby for this class. He'll be 17 at draft day, playing for Aquinas. They actually went up against Huntington Beach and beat them in extra innings. Betanti gets intentionally walked twice in this look, which, hey, that's what happens. We're playing for something real, which is great about the intensity. And HB walked him twice. Like, that was the right move. So I did not blame benching those guys for doing that. But I got to see him take a couple swings. He just 6'4", square shoulder. He's going to continue filling out. There's an intensity to his game that he brings and that will to win, which is what was the biggest takeaway from this. There are a couple nice swings. He'll get on more. The power is clearly there. He's hitting the past. But the intensity from him playing shortstop early on in the game. Oh, yeah, no, I want the ball on the bump late because we are winning this game. And there was we'll refuse to lose out of him up to 94. Gets the win coming in for a few innings for Aquinas there, and a huge matchup. That's what I loved about him. I think it's going to be an easy makeup call for a lot of teams, and this is a guy who I think you could definitely hear a lot of murmurs in that first round.
And how much is him going to the mound to be a closer bump him up that board?
I don't think so much you're interested in the arm. It was
not as a competitor.
I think the competitiveness, it only helps him, and just talking with guys, like that's what's helping him right now is he checks so many boxes, makes it easy to like him and sign off on a 7-figure check when you got a guy like that who's willing to win and you can bet on getting better in the future.
Two more guys from California, starting with another catcher, Luke Schurer.
Yeah, Luke Schurer, Ukaipa kid, catcher who we've loved in the past, had a huge summer, Cal Poly recruit. His physicality stands out, right? He's about 6'2", 205, 210, gets into the legs at the plate. It's a simple short stroke, but the ball jumps off the bat. 2-strike approach, still hit a home run for me with some windy, cold days there, or a windy, cold day there in Irvine. I just love the patience at the plate. There's not too much going on. He can utilize the whole field. Behind the dish, really showed well receiving wise. More of an average catch and throw right now, but I think that'll get better. The arm will continue to come around. Was putting throws on the bag between innings, but it's really that bat and the physicality that is going to help him in this draft process throughout the spring.
Should also note uncharacteristically cold in Irvine. I got to give my home state, especially Southern California, a little bit of a rephrase there. Final guy on the list, another one that's always been talked about for the last couple of years, Bryce Rayner.
Yeah, Bryce Rayner is the sole underclassman we'll talk about in this because he's the #1 player in the country, and the dude can flat out ball. Annihilated or I guess it was a double. He got thrown out at third base, but he got to see his long strides. Excuse me, playing center field now, which is where I think he settles in best. It really allows his legs to play. But him next to a kid like Will Gasparino, those two in the outfield are very tall and imposing, but can really turn the barrel from the left side. It's a fluid stroke. Oh, yeah, then he comes on to close it out for Harvard Westlake, 89 to 93, just commanding the glove side. It's an easy starter look. I kind of was telling some of the guys from out of state who were there, there's some similarities to a Noble Meyer, just the ease with which it comes out of the hand. So now you're talking about Noble Meyer on the bump, but also one of the best hitters in the class. And it's a reason why he's the slam dunk #1 kid in this 24 class right now for me.
Maybe mini Shohei Ohtani. Probably not on the mound long term, but throw him out there, whatever.
Some future pieces. Look for some stuff with some Shohei types.
Oh, there we go. Hint, hint. Look out for those things. Make sure you subscribe to Premium to be able to watch those, read those. Excuse me. Shooter, anything else?
No, I'm just ready. I can't wait. This action's been unreal. More MLB draft content coming. Underclass. I'll be in Dallas and Phoenix. I'm all over the map. You are right now currently coming to us from a hotel room. So as live proof that you are all over the map. Shooter, thank you. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.